And welcome back to the channel, everybody. Here, Lucas from Mars, again with another video, and this one will be just a stat recap here as we are into the All-Star break now at this point in the season. And so we'll just take a look at some news and some updates from around the league, stat update, and a standings update for you here in this league. As you see, we're in the All-Star break period, and trade deadline is going to come up here pretty soon. But we start in the National League Central, and the Arrows there, one of the best teams. I think they have the best record right now in the National League, 58-39. Meanwhile, the Monarchs started the season pretty bad. I think they were like 3-12 at the beginning of the year at some point, but they have definitely picked their season back up. They're now only, they're 4 games, above 500 now. At the trade deadline, the Blue Sox are a game below 500 right now at 48-49. The Sluggers sitting at 40-50. I think the Sluggers have got a really good shot at having a good second half of the season. They're a pretty good team there in St. Louis. And then the Millers, last in this division, but not by much. Down by 12 games to the Arrows, but only 5 games below 500, sitting at 47-52. So definitely a good division here in the NL Central. And so now we go on to the National League West, and this is probably one of the weaker divisions in the league here, but the Bees right now have that division, and they have hold of it by 2 games over the Colorado Rattlers. They're 51-44 for the Bees this season. The Rattlers, meanwhile, the 7th-ranked team in the league, sitting at 50-47. The Sharks, 46-52, slightly below 500. And then the Gamblers, 43-54, they're 11 games below 500. And the Spiders sitting at 41-55. What are the worst records here in the National League? They're pretty much, their season is not completely dead yet, of course. But playoffs are a long shot for this team here in the Spiders. It is a pretty high team ERA there at 4.11 and a not very great average at 245. So they're last in that division. Then we go over to the National League East here, and we actually have the Stars. So the Stars are tied. I think the Arrows have 1 less loss at this point in the season, but the Stars have 58 wins as well. They're 58-40 on the year. The Crusaders, first-ranked team in the game, they are having a pretty good season here, 53-46, so they're solidly in a wild card spot at the moment. Then you got the Cougars there, sitting with 2 games below 500 at 48-50. The Cardinals have kind of slipped a little bit in this franchise. They're 46-51. And then the Rhinos are actually the worst team in this league record-wise. They are sitting 30 games below 500 and 24 games out of first place right now with a 34-64 record. So not a bad ERA here on that team. I mean, the 3.89 isn't like awful, considering that the Cardinals had a higher ERA than them. The offense on this team, though, that's kind of where they struggle a lot, and their offense is just not great. But they're only the 17th ranked team, so I'm not really sure why the Rhinos are that bad here in this league. But they've just not had a good season, and they sit with the worst record in baseball at 34-64. And then you go to the wild card race, and you see the Crusaders. They're pretty solidly in that first place spot in the wild card. And the Monarchs are actually right there with the Rattlers a half game back. Blue Sox 2.5. Cougars sitting at 3 games. Sluggers sitting also at 3 games back. And so then you get to see where all the other teams stand in terms of the wild card race. I think it'll mainly be the Crusaders and the Monarchs there. I think the Sluggers have a good chance of making a run, but we'll see how that wildcard race goes. And then in the American League East, we focused on this kind of divisional rivalry for a while this season. Never mind. This is not the right division. I'm not thinking the right here. But the Barons, 55-42 right now. They're first place in the East. 2.5 games over the Expos, who are 53-45. Then the Honey Badgers are right behind them here at 52-46. And then the Firebirds, 50-48. And then meanwhile the Wizards, 46-52. They've had some injury issues this year, and they're kind of fallen behind, but a really good division there in the East. And then you go to the American League Central, and this division is a lot more set, I think, as you see the Reapers here with the Raptors, excuse me, with 56 wins, 41 losses. They're the second-ranked team in baseball. I mean, look at the numbers for them, and the offense is incredible for them. 268 average, a 441 team slugging, and a 345 on base. That offense is unreal. It's probably the best offense in baseball so far this year. And then you got the Dragons, who, are doing well in this league. They are the 30th ranked team in the league right now, but they are doing surprisingly well at 51-46 right now. So they're having a pretty good season, above expectations. And then meanwhile, the Vandals sitting at a 44-54, 10 games below 500. The Scorpions and the Chinooks, not great there record-wise. They're both pretty far below 500. But this is the division race that we've been kind of focusing on between the Reapers and the Diablos. But the Diablos have kind of slipped. They started the year off really well, and they've kind of fallen off a little bit. They're only 4 games above 500, and they are 5 games back of the Reapers, who sit at 55-41. And then the Vipers there, 2 games above 500 actually, so they're having a pretty decent season right now, I would say. And then the Bison, 1 game below 500 here, there. And then the Jazz at 47-51. So that's a good division as well in the American League West. And then in the wild card, you can see the Expos and the Honey Badgers solidly there in that top spot. I guess not solidly, because the Dragons are a half game behind them. The Diablos are a game behind them. Fibers and Vipers are both 2 games back. Bison right now 3.5 back, and then it kind of falls off from there. But that is a standings update for you guys there. And now we are going to go into looking at some of these rosters, looking at some of these teams and their ratings here. As let's take a look at the pitching staff here for the Kansas City Monarchs first. And Aaron Nola there, this team's ace. And he's been pitching like an ace, I would say. 376, 3.76 ERA, and a 1.27 whip. 119 innings, 9 wins to 8 losses. That's pretty decent. A 3.64 ERA for Zach Gallen this year, 101 innings. He's been good. Kyle Hendricks has actually been pretty surprisingly good right now, 3.25 ERA for him. And then Dane Dunning right now at 2.92 ERA. And so really good pitching there. Cole Irvin, yeah, not great. But, those top 4 pitchers right now for Kansas City, really, really good. And they have been pitching pretty well there in the top of the order. And I don't know, you may have noticed that, I can see the potential and I can see kind of some increases in these players' overall ratings, but I don't actually know what stats are increasing because I think there's a glitch going on in this league right now. As you can see, this bullpen is really good. Mac Myers there with 42 innings. Tim Bastar, 48 innings and a 2.25 ERA. This guy is a rookie and has only C potential, but he has been one of the better relievers in the league. That's incredible. There, Dylan Floro, he kind of struggling in 50 innings. Andrew Chafin also kind of struggling right now. It probably might move him out of this setup role. And then Colin McHugh, 3.90 ERA for him. 4 blown saves, 28 saves. It's not an awful year from McHugh, but also could be a little bit better. So yeah, I don't know why I cannot see the ratings going up or down. Like, I can see their overalls going up and down for these players, but I don't actually know which ratings are increasing. It's really frustrating. I don't know why that is or what caused that kind of glitch. But I don't see any plus increases on anybody, which is very weird. Lance Lynn here, he's been a really good pitcher. 2.82 ERA and a 1.12 whip in 131 innings. 95 strikeouts, so he's definitely been the ace of this Sluggers team. And, he's going down in overall, but I don't know what stats he's going down in. So I don't really know how do I handle that? How do I handle the ratings going into the offseason if I don't know what some of these players have decreased in? So we'll just have to figure that out at a later point. But, Eduardo Rodriguez has been really good. 124 innings for him, and a 2.61 ERA and a 1 point, over 1.1 or 1.3 whip. I think I saw that. And then the bottom of the order here, Carrasco and McKenzie kind of struggling. McKenzie near 5 ERA there. And then the bullpen, you got David Price, pretty good. I mean, the whip is a little bit high, but Sergio Romo has been really good, a sub-1 whip. And then Justin Wilson has been incredible. He's given up 1 run so far this season in 27.2 innings. So that's ridiculous. A .033 ERA and a .083 whip. I mean, that is an incredible relief pitcher right here. And 11 hits allowed, 12 walks allowed so far in 27 innings. And only 1 run allowed. That is an excellent start to his campaign. Pedro Ortiz, I think he's a rookie in this league. That's all right. I will take that. 39.1 innings for him and a 3.89 ERA. Tyler Duffy in the setup role has been pretty good. 2.53 ERA and a 1.31 whip. And then Ryan Tepera, 2.76 ERA here. 28 saves, 6 blown saves already, which is a bit much. But only 10 runs in 32 innings. So, that's a good reliever there, and that's a pretty good closer. He's had a decent start to his season. So that's the pitching there for that team, and it's okay. Now we go to the Arrows. This is one of the best teams in the league here, and you can kind of tell why. This is a pretty decent pitching staff. Their offense is really good too. And Max Scherzer, a 2.84 ERA and a 1.09 whip. He's been ridiculous. 119 strikeouts already and 126.2 innings pitched. He's the ace of this staff, and he's one of the best pitchers in baseball, and he has been doing that this year for sure. Dustin May, 4.09 ERA, not amazing. Dylan Cease has been pretty good, though. 3.54 ERA for him. Antonio Sensatella has actually been pretty decent. 111 innings and a 3.65 ERA from him. And then Zach Eflin, a 3.4 ERA and 121.2 innings pitched. So, overall, a really good pitching staff there. Dustin May is kind of struggling, but he's an 82 overall. He's got a lot of potential. So, overall, a pretty decent starting rotation there. And then you got the bullpen here. Christopher Sanchez, not great. James Caprillion has kind of struggled here in the long relief role. So those long relievers aren't that good. But Cole Sulser has been really good. Cesar Valdez, a 2.03 ERA, 31 innings. He's been incredible. Hunter Wood has just kind of sucked. Brian Abreu has been good. Pedro Baez is sub-1 whip in 32 innings. And then Garrett Whitlock, one of the best closers in the league right here. 32 saves, only 2 blown saves all year. He's going to be in that All-Star game for sure. A sub-1 whip and a 1.49 ERA here. 27 hits and only 4 walks so far in 36.1 innings. 6 runs allowed. That is some incredible numbers. He's only 25 too, so he is a young, up-and-coming reliever here in Indianapolis, and he is having a great, great season right now. And so overall, a pretty good bullpen here and a pretty decent starting pitching staff in Indianapolis. And then Chris Bubik, actually, he's in AAA right now. He'll be called up here pretty soon. I mean, 24 years old, but look at his numbers. 103 innings, a 2.27 ERA, and a 1.17 whip. That is some of the best numbers out of anybody here in the minor leagues this season so far. 26 runs in 103 innings. I think he's definitely deserving of a chance to go back up to the big leagues at some point this season. But that's kind of a relief pitcher or a starting pitcher there in the minors that we want to focus on. Kevin Gausman here. We go to the Minneapolis Millers, and Kevin Gausman, and the ace of this staff, has been pitching like an ace. A 3.02 ERA for him. German Marquez, 3.66 ERA, pretty decent numbers for him at 125.1 innings. Kwon Hyun Kim has been all right in 120 or 112 innings. Sixto Sanchez, though, yeah, that's bad. 6.69 ERA, not good there. Steven Matz has also not been great either. But Sixto Sanchez is improving, but man, 78 runs in 105 innings, and I think you really have to wonder at some point, do you call him down at some point? Because those are just really bad numbers by him right there. Carlos Smith and Jose Suarez, not great long relievers there. I think overall this bullpen is not... I mean, this pitching staff is just okay and pretty average. That Brents guy was pretty good, had some pretty good numbers there. Brett Martin, decent numbers. Chris Martin, so they got two guys with the last name of Martin on this roster here, but Blake Trinan has been ridiculous, a sub-2 and a sub-1 ERA and whip. And then Liam Hendricks, though, 24 saves, only 4 blown, but, man, 5.46 ERA. He's given up 18 runs in 29 innings already this year. So this is not a usual Liam Hendricks-like season right here. And, I mean, I think you have to wonder at some point how much longer is he going to be your closer this season if he's having, that kind of an ERA and that kind of a whip. So that'll be something to watch out for Minneapolis going forward. At 1.75 whip, I mean, that's just not good at all. So you got to consider, do you just happily try to be your closer? I think that would be a bad idea. Now we go to the Gamblers here, and Corbin Burnes, he's going to be the all-star starter for the National League, if I remember. And, I mean, there's a reason for that. He is right now the Cy Young leader in the National League. 143 innings, 32 runs allowed, a 2.01 ERA, 131 strikeouts, and a 1.02 whip. I mean, Corbin Burnes is having an unbelievable season, and he's declining for some reason, which is pretty dumb in my opinion. But either way, this is an incredible season right here by Corbin Burnes, the all-star starter. And, I mean, right now, he would have my vote for the Cy Young Award. Only 102 hits given up as well. What a season by Corbin Burnes right now. And then Sean Manaea, all right, 3.84 ERA for him. Miles Michaelis, 3.16 ERA and a 1.17 whip. That's a pretty good season right there. Mike Fulton-Evich, pretty decent. And then Drew Smyly, 102 innings, 3.69 ERA, 1.45 whip. So, honestly, not an awful pitching staff here in Las Vegas. I think their offense is a little bit worse for wear. Robert Gsellman here out of their bullpen is really good. Andres Munoz kind of struggling. Dustin Knight only has 2 innings. But Rowan Wick has been pretty good there, 2.45 ERA at 33 innings. Caleb Theobar has been really good. Phil Maton, though, 39 strikeouts in, 27 innings, 6 blown saves. That's a little bit much. So, near 4 ERA. That's also another guy that you might consider moving out of that closer role. But, yeah, definitely not a great pitching staff and a pretty good starting pitching staff, but not a great bullpen there. Sammy Richardson, a guy that we'll probably be calling up at some point this year at the September call-up period. But he's been doing pretty good in the minors. Now I go to the Rattlers here, and we have Lance McCullers Jr. as the starting pitcher, the ace of this team. 3.6 ERA. That's all right. Blake Snell got injured a little bit at one point in this season. He's been okay. Spencer Turnbull has been pretty bad. Yeah, Matt Manning, though, I mean, the whip is pretty high, but the ERA is not in a bad spot. Only 53 strikeouts for him. So it's just not an amazing starting pitching staff there. And then the bullpen, Cody Hoyer, really, really good numbers. But really not anybody else that has been super excellent besides Jordan Romano, who has been this team's closer. And he's gotten 29 saves in, 31 opportunities. He's been really, really good. At .82 whip, only 5 walks and 22 hits allowed. So, yeah, Romano is having a really good year, but the rest of the bullpen, Romano and Hoyer have been really good, but the rest of the bullpen is kind of struggling. And then we go to the B's here, and Jack Flaherty, the team's ace, has been all right, 3.51 ERA for him. Adam Wainwright, at 40 years old, has been okay, and Chris Bassett, though, actually been the best pitcher on this staff so far, 127 innings and a 2.83 ERA, and we're just going to move him up over Adam Wainwright really quick. But Davidson the Met actually is having a good season as well, 107 innings and a 3.35 ERA for him. J.App, not great, though. It's an okay pitching staff. It's not crazy good, but not awful either. Alex Reyes, okay, pretty good numbers there for him. Evan Marshall, 34 innings for him with a sub-1 whip. He's been really good. Anna Kolarik's been very good. Scott Barlow has been very good. And Taylor Rogers, only 2 blown saves. So that's really good for him. 27 saves so far. The ERA is a little bit high, but overall he's been doing a good job there as this team's closer. So the bullpen actually is kind of fire, but the starting pitching is not amazing. But man, look at those. Those are some really good ERAs there in that bullpen for Salt Lake. And then we go to the Sharks, and there's Julio Urias, who is this team's ace, and started out the season really good, but has kind of slowed down a little bit. Jamison Taillon, really good. Michael Kopech has struggled. But Jamison Taillon, 2.99 ERA, sub-3 ERA from him. Wade Miley, 74 overall, has actually been surprisingly good. And then Domingo Germán, in 40 innings. I think he was recently moved to the starting rotation. He's been good. But man, Wade Miley, this is like a career year for him right now. You know, he had a really good 2018, but those are only 80 innings. So this is some career numbers that he's putting up right now in the starting rotation for the Sharks. And in the bullpen, Ryan Helsley, not great. Eric Swanson, though, has been pretty good. 102 whip and 73 innings already. Jorge Alcala has been good, for sure. And then, you know, Ryan Stanek, 1.08 ERA. Whip, I mean. Aaron Bummer, though, has been pretty awful in that setup role. But Dylan Emmanuel, I want to say, this is one of the best young closers in baseball, and he has been that exactly this year. 24 saves, only 3 blown, 20 hits, 3 walks allowed, 20 strikeouts. I mean, a 1.82 ERA and a .78 whip. So really good numbers by Mina Clase. But Aaron Bummer, he's going to move out of that setup role because he has been awful in the 6.5 ERA. I mean, that's really bad. So Ryan Stanek will take over there. And then we go to the Spiders here, and not a lot to really cheer about for this team. But Joe Musgrove has been very good, and you know, we kind of at the point in the season now where we got to think of trade candidates. Chris Flexen has also been very good. 127 innings and a 2.68 ERA and a 1.14 whip. So he's having a career year at the moment. Don't really see this team trading him. He's only 27 years old. But Joe Musgrove is a guy that, you know, we kind of think about trade prospects for some of these teams, and Joe Musgrove is kind of on that trade radar for me going into the deadline here in a couple of episodes coming up in this franchise. Christian Javier has been really good out of the bullpen here as a long reliever. 2.23 ERA and a 1.31 whip. And you go to the bullpen here, and Ryan Pepio is there, and okay, with 3.59 ERA, so not awful. Maybe we'll see him at some point this season for the Spiders. I am not 100% sure on that, though, yet. Anthony Dominguez has been okay. Ian Kennedy, really good. 2.11 ERA and a .84 whip. Stefan Crichton, I'm not sure how to pronounce that last name exactly, has been good. And then James Karinchak has been pretty bad, actually. 28 blown saves already. Yikes. Unfortunately, this is a bad bullpen, so not really sure what you're going to do in that spot, who you're going to move, because it's just not a good bullpen. That's one of the definitely the weaker parts of this ball club here in the Spiders. It's just their pitching is okay, but not great. Zach Wheeler here. This is the guy going to be the all-star starter for the American League now as we're getting the American League. And, I mean, as good as the season that we were seeing from Corbin Burns, this season is even better. 136 innings for Zach Wheeler, 104 hits allowed, a 1.79 ERA, 27 runs given up, 107 strikeouts, and a sub-1 whip at 0.94. I mean, this would be back-to-back Cy Young awards for Zach Wheeler in this franchise here, and he is well on pace to get a Cy Young award in the American League. That is an incredible season. And then Kyle Gibson, I mean, this guy might be competing with him in that race right now. 135 innings. We've focused on him earlier this season, but 35 runs, 32 earns, allowed 188 strikeouts, a 1.19 whip, but a 2.13 ERA. That is ridiculous. So, I mean, those two guys at the top of your rotation, that's going to bode well for you for sure. But, man, Kyle Gibson is, like, having a career year right now for Montreal. That is impressive. Merrill Kelly has been pretty decent there, and Michael Pineda has also been all right. So, definitely the pitching is the strength of this Expos team. And then Julian Merriweather probably will get into the All-Star game, I would think, for Montreal. 95 innings for him and a 2.74 ERA. Really good long reliever there. Oliver Drake, pretty good. And, 30-some innings there. Wendlekin, pretty bad. Dallas Keuchel, who should have been on this team at the start of the year. 12.1 innings, given up like 1 run. Brad Boxberger has given up 1 run so far in 19.2 innings. 19 holes already. That is really good. He has not blown a hole yet this season. And then Corey Knebel, 27 saves, 2 blown. I mean, that is a good season. We'll definitely take that from him. A 2.73 ERA. And, I mean, the whip is kind of high, honestly. 25 walks. So that kind of explains the high whip there. But he's been able to work around traffic, I guess, this season. And he's been pretty effective as the closer for this team. Now we go to the Wizards. And as you can tell, this is a team that kind of on a free fall. And their pitching has been on a free fall recently. Sandy Alcantara not pitching well. Corey Kluber has been really bad. Dakota Hudson has been pretty good, 2.82 ERA, or no, I don't know what it was, but Alex Cobb has actually been the best pitcher on this roster here and on the staff, and that is pretty impressive. A 2.82 ERA and a 1.24 whip for Alex Cobb. That is really good for him. That's probably a career year. Julio Cecchine, sub-1 whip at 0.89, 2.19 ERA. That is a really good long reliever right there. Michael King has been pretty good in that long relief spot as well. Cody Stashek, 0.86 whip and a 2.04 ERA in 39 innings. So you got a couple of good relievers right now for this Wizards team. Zach Britton, though, yikes. But Chad Green, wow, look at this. 27 saves, 3 blown. He has been ridiculous in 29 innings. A 1.84 ERA and a 0.92 whip. So that is impressive. Might want to move Zach Britton out of that setup role, but we'll see. And then we go to the Honey Badgers here. Carlos Rendon has been one of the better pitchers in the American League. In the American League this season. 135 innings, 101 hits, a 2.66 ERA, and a 1.09 whip so far this season. He has been excellent, definitely, as the ace of this Honey Badgers staff. And then Zach Greinke, 3.11 ERA and a 1.06 whip. I mean, that is definitely good numbers from, I think he's 38 in this game right now. But Chris Paddock has been really good, 2.68 ERA. Louis Gill, not as good. He's a lot younger, though, 23 years old. But maybe you consider moving him out of the starting rotation at some point. Luisa Hernandez is actually a starter on this team. He's a long reliever for the Marlins, and those are good numbers about what he did in our Marlins franchise. I mean, a 3.68 ERA and a 1.22 whip. So, really good pitching staff, though, as a whole, overall in New York. And Devin Smeltzer, really good long reliever here, and he's a guy that you might consider moving into that starting rotation over Luis Gill. But Sean Doolittle has been very, very good in his 20-plus innings as well. Austin Adams, 30 innings and 2.1 ERA. Very, very good. Anthony Bender, 7 ERA. So I might need to move that. And then Kirby Yates, 4 blown saves. That's a high ERA. It's just not amazing. I mean, 18 runs. The whip is really good. I mean, only a 1.04 whip. So I don't really know why he has such a high ERA if he's got such a good whip. But I think he might just be getting a little unlucky this season. But either way, that whip is a little bit high, or the ERA is a little high. So overall, all right bullpen, but definitely want to move Anthony Bender out of this setup role. So they put Austin Adams in there. And then we go to Boston. Nathan Eovaldi, the ace here of the Barons, and he's been pretty good. Taylor Rogers, a 4.08 ERA for him. So far, Jordan Montgomery has kind of struggled. Zach Plesac, a 3.31 ERA and a 1.25 whip. That is a good season by him. Deivi Garcia, yikes. I mean, a young pitcher there. He's struggling right now. It's not an amazing... like John King is a good long reliever, but overall, the pitching could be a lot better for this team. I'm not going to lie. Alex Claudio, all right. Miguel Figueroa, though. I mean, this is a D potential 65, or C potential, 65 overall relief pitcher, and he has been excellent in 34 innings. Tanner Scott has given up 1 run in 17.1 innings so far this season. He is kind of a glitch reliever in this game, if you ask me. And then Juice Steinenwecker has been very, very good in 26 innings, 22 holds so far, and a 1.73 ERA and a 1.31 WHIP for him. And then David Bednar is probably the best closer in baseball here, and he'll be in the All-Star game, I would expect. 30 saves to only 1 blown save. 36.1 innings already, but 6 runs allowed in that span. Only 10 walks, a 1.49 ERA, and a 0.91 WHIP. I mean, 30 saves already at the All-Star break is pretty impressive indeed. So, yeah, David Bednar, kind of crazy good, and he has been having an incredible season here as Boston's closer. And overall, very good bullpen here in Boston. And then we go to the Firebirds here, and of course we all know who the ace of this team is. It's Shohei Ohtani. And, wow, I mean, this is a guy that's competing for the Cy Young right now, right up there with Zach Wheeler at the moment. 128 innings for him and 88 hits allowed. That's ridiculous, actually. Only 88 hits allowed. 31 runs allowed, 52 walks, 146 strikeouts already this season, and a 2.17 ERA. So, Shohei Ohtani doing some Shohei Ohtani things. That is unbelievable. We'll show you his offensive numbers as well later on in this episode, but that is crazy how good he's been. Kind of crazy how bad Darren McColgan has been this year. But, yeah, Shohei Ohtani, I mean, he's still in the show in this pitching rotation. The rest of it, the pitching rotation here is okay, just not amazing. Casey Sadler, 40.2 innings and a 1.77 ERA. That is really good for him. And then James Hoyt, 2.41 ERA. Chris Davinsky has a pretty good ERA there. Ryan Boucher, 3.62 ERA. Lucas Sims in the setup role has been fine. I mean, not amazing, but Matt Barnes has been very good in this closer role. 26 saves so far for him, and a 3.08 ERA for him, and a 1.18 WHIP. So overall, bullpen is pretty solid. Starting rotation, besides Shohei, is okay, but Shohei is just so amazing. So we'll look at his offensive numbers again later on in the episode. There's Steven Strasburg here as the ace of this Vandals pitching staff, and he's been pretty good. Ian Anderson has been pretty good as well, 3.28 ERA and a 1.32 WHIP. Taiwan Walker, not great. Anthony DeSclafani has been okay. Luke Weaver, 3.66 ERA and a 1.3 WHIP, so that's pretty good. Sam Conrood has been very good, 2.61 ERA in that long release spot. Luke Jackson, 2.17 ERA, that's been good. Luis Garcia has been okay. Richard Blair in that setup role, a little bit of a high numbers for me, but not awful. Nick Anderson, okay, I'll take that as a closer. 6 blown saves already is a little bit much, but 19 saves, a sub-3 ERA, and a 1.16 WHIP, so we'll keep him in that closer role. But overall, I mean, the starting pitching here for Vancouver is not that bad. Bullpen is okay. But now we move over to the Raptors, and definitely this team's strength is their offense, but their pitching here, we'll take a look at it. John Curtis right there in a pitching role right now, but he's not really a starter technically. But Marcus Stroman, 3.37 ERA. He's been very good. Cal Quantrill, 116 innings and a 3.17 ERA. Very good for him. And then those two younger pitchers there, not awful, but not amazing really either. Caleb Killian, I just wanted to see some growth from him. And then there's Logan Webb. He's on the IL right now. Well, he's not on the IL, but he's just been hurt, so he'll be back after when the second half begins with Matt Hector Norris. How about that for him this season? That's been awesome there. Tim Meza, 2.06 ERA, 1.06 WHIP, 35 innings, really good. AJ Minter, though, he is almost a 2 ERA, or a 2 WHIP, I mean. And then Aroldis Chapman, a 1.55 WHIP and 23 saves, but kind of a high ERA there at 4.18. So some adjustments might have to be made in this bullpen here with the setup and the closer roles. And Aroldis Chapman, we are going to move him out of that closer role. He's just not. I know he's doing really well in real life, actually, I think, this year with the Rangers, but in this game, I don't think he's a closer really anymore. He just doesn't have the same stuff that he used to, and he's not a closer anymore really in this game. So he's going to be moved to setup, but maybe we move him out of the setup role even. But then we go to the Canucks here, and this is a pretty bad team. So we'll kind of go pretty quickly through them as Chris Sale has been struggling this year. Tyler Mahle struggling as well. TJ Antone is not a starting pitcher, so I don't know why he's there in the rotation. But that's bad. Dylan Tate is also not a starter, so I don't know why he's there either. But Jacob Barnes, not great. John Gray was hurt for a while this year, so that's why he only has like 60 innings. But he is coming back, and until he's back in the starting rotation, he's been pretty good. And, the innings that he has pitched in, and, 61 innings. So, Nick Vincent, really good reliever there. That's been pretty good. Justin Topa has been okay. Joe Kelly, yikes. But then Giovanni Gallegos has been really good. He's one of the best closers in the league. 26 saves, 2 blown saves only this year. Only 8 runs given up. And he's been excellent. But the rest of this bullpen and pitching staff is not great. And so, just for reference here, we're going to bring up Connor Wade from this team's farm system because they currently do not have a 5th starter right now. So that's what was happening there. Then we go to the Dragons. And Shane Bieber here, the ace of this team, and 3.32 ERA for him. Mike Soroka, 3.71 ERA, 1.26 whip. So, pretty decent numbers for Soroka. Kenta Maeda, pretty good numbers for him as well, 2.96 ERA. Albert Larzawai, not great. Alex Mills, okay. Ronnie Peralta, though, as a long reliever, 2.79 ERA, really good. Craig Stammen as well has been very good. So, a couple good long relievers there. Matzek and Alvarez, okay. Zach Rostov is pretty bad. So was Rex Brothers. But J.G. Chargois, 20 holds so far this season, a 2.08 ERA and a sub-1 whip. So very, very good numbers by J.G. Chargois. And then Oliver Perez, man, that's 40 years old, and he is still killing it here as this team's closer. 20 saves and 25 opportunities, 26 strikeouts, only 12 walks. He has been very good at 1.78 ERA and a 1.15 whip. So Oliver Perez, man, he's had a very, very long career, and this is just another really good season to just kind of cap it off. I'm not sure if he'll come back next season, but he's definitely closing out with a really good year right now, if that is the case, if it's going to be his last season. We go to the Scorpions, and they're pretty bad, so we'll move fairly quickly. Aaron Savali here, 129 innings pitched. He's been very good. Jake Odorizzi has been okay. Adrian Hauser, okay, pretty good there. Jace Vines, though, yikes. Okay, 6.68 ERA and a D potential, so probably will call him down. I don't see any reason for him to be up still in the major league level. But yeah, bullpen is very bad. Oh my goodness. Nobody even really good to talk about in this bullpen besides Taylor Rogers, who has, got 25 saves, 5 blown saves. He's been okay, but the rest of that bullpen is just awful. So Justin Dunn here is a young pitcher that we might think of calling up. He's got a really bad walk per 9, but I think the rest of his numbers look very good, and he's having a really good season right now in the minor leagues and AAA with that 2.55 ERA. So we might call him up here. We'll see. But Jose Barrios is another really good pitcher here in the American League. He should be in the All-Star game here. And, we focused on him last episode. He's back from that injury that he suffered already. And, he's been ridiculous. We've kind of looked at his stats pretty much already this year. But, 96 hits allowed in 128 innings, 2.31 ERA, and a 1.08 whip for him. So I wish he could be doing this stuff in real life because I like Jose Barrios a lot. But, man, that is some really, really good numbers right there. And then James Paxton, okay, not anything super special there. Ron Yarbrough is hurt right now at the moment. He'll be back soon. but he's been okay. And Niall De Los Santos has been all right, pretty decent there. He's on a hot streak at the moment. So definitely a good pitching staff here in Houston. Alex Varela, or Vesia, really good numbers. Daniel Hudson with 39.1 innings and a 2.06 ERA with a 1.09 whip. I mean, those are some crazy numbers. Kendall Graveman giving up 1 run in, 17 innings right now, and he is increasing in potential and overall, so really good season right now for Kendall Graveman. Love to see that. And then Paul Sewald is honestly been bad. I mean, only 2 saves, but the ERA is sitting near 5 and a 1.32 whip. So we are going to move him out of that closer role really quickly there, it looks like. But then we go to the Diablos, and a lot of pitchers on hot streaks on this team, man. Logan Gilbert, really good numbers by him, 3.16 ERA. Shane McClanahan, 3.75. Jared Eichhoff, a 3.09 ERA. And then Jordan Yamamoto, 4.29 ERA. So overall, pretty good pitching staff here in the Diablos, and I mean, they have got some good pitchers on hot streaks at the moment. So Matt Strom there, really good numbers by him. Adam Simmer has been very good this year as well. Aaron Loup hasn't really been that great, but Josh Hader has been very good. 29 saves in 33 opportunities and 47 strikeouts already. A 3.03 ERA and a 1.29 whip. One of the better closers in baseball, and he has been definitely doing that this season so far. So we move Adam Simmer to the setup role because Aaron Loup has just not been doing the job there very well. But yeah, that's a good bullpen for sure. And then we go to the Vipers here, and they got Tanner Hoyk at the top of the pitching staff, Mike Clevenger as well, and Eric Fenny there at the bottom. It's nobody's doing amazing in that starting rotation, but everybody's doing pretty good. I mean, those are some 2 good long relievers right there. Jake Diekman has been pretty good. Jake McGee has been good. I mean, overall, a really good bullpen here, actually, in the Vipers. This is one of the better bullpens in baseball right here. And Andrew Kittredge is having one of the better closers or seasons by a closer this season. He's going to be on the All-Star game, I would see him. 39.2 innings already, 30 saves, and a 2.04 ERA with a 1.03 whip. So good, decent starting pitching and amazing bullpen there for the Vipers. Now, Freddie Peralta has been pretty good this season. John Means has been very good this season, and we're going to move him to that number 2 spot because he is just a glitch in the franchise, I've come to find out, and he's having a great season. Shane Baz isn't really, but Freddie Peralta there with a 3.03 ERA, very good by him. Bullpen, all right, decent. Andrew Miller has been pretty good. Shane Green, a 3.35 ERA. Garrett Crochet, as his team's setup role, has been excellent. 18 innings by him right now, a 2 ERA and a 0.89 whip. Only 3 walks so far in 18 innings. Very good numbers by him. And then Ryan Presley, very good numbers by him as well. 28 saves to 3 blown saves, a 2.65 ERA and a 1.32 whip. I mean, this is, 37 hits, kind of a lot, but Ryan Presley is definitely doing the job there as this team's closer, and he will probably get an All-Star game bid here in the All-Star game coming up in a couple of days in this franchise. Pablo Lopez, decent. Sonny Gray has been okay. Drew Rasmussen has been not very good, and so neither has Andrew Heaney. Chris John, pretty good numbers for him so far, 72 innings. Phil Bickford, not great. Betances, not great. Rafael Montero, all right, decent. Loaizaga, not great. Richard Rodriguez, not good. And then Raiso Iglesias, though, he's been good. He's been the best reliever on this team right now. I mean, 26 saves and a 3.28 ERA and 1.04 whip. So Raiso Iglesias is doing his job. Not a lot of other people are in this bullpen, though. So there's that. Jacob deGrom, going to be in the All-Star game, very likely, and 134 innings, 155 strikeouts. I believe that leads the National League. I'm not sure, but really good numbers there. Husker Uwena is also having a great season. And Casey Mize, 3.61 ERA for him in his second full season, basically, in the bigs, and I'll take those numbers for him. So, yeah, definitely definitely a good pitching staff here in Atlanta. And good job by Felix Pena so far. And Brad Hand has been good. Cody Kell has been very good, 47 innings for him. Seth Lugo, 26 innings at 2.39 ERA, very good. And Edwin Diaz, oh my goodness. So he leads the league in saves with 31, has not blown a save all year. 37.2 innings, 19 hits, 2 runs allowed, and 37 strikeouts. Unbelievable. 0.48 ERA and a 0.8 whip. That is incredible. So Edwin Diaz, man, going to be in that All-Star game, and he is the best closer in the league right now, and they're definitely playing the Timmy Trumpet song every time he walks out onto the mound because it has been almost impossible to touch him out of that bullpen and in that closer spot. So good bullpen and a decent starting pitching rotation here in Atlanta. And then we go to the Stars. Ranger Suarez, 3.37 ERA in 115 innings. That's pretty good by him. Marco Gonzalez, though, 127 innings and a 2.83 ERA with a 1.03 whip. So very good numbers by him. Michael Wacha has a sub-3 ERA as well. So, yeah, okay, we'll take that from this bullpen. Very good. Reynaldo Lopez, 108 innings for him. He's going to be going to the All-Star game probably. Noah Ramirez, all right. Paul Fry, Saul Sample. Mark Melanson has struggled in that setup role. Trevor May has been good, though, as a closer. 33 saves, so he actually leads the league in saves. 4 blown saves for Trevor May. 3.06 ERA and a 1.13 whip. So he's going to be probably in the All-Star game, I would think. I mean, maybe not, but either way, it's an okay bullpen, and, I mean, the strength of that team is really their offense. So you have Clayton Kershaw there at the top. Decent numbers by Framber Valdez. Carlos Martinez has actually been kind of ridiculous. Nestor Cortez Jr., we focused on him on a game earlier this year. 2.91 ERA. Kershaw there at the top, 3.25 ERA. So nobody on this staff is below or above a 3 ERA. So definitely pitching this team's strong suit. All right, now Kobe Alladay, 2.01 ERA. Darren O'Day, pretty bad. Kenley Jansen also has struggled, though, as this team's closer with a over 4 ERA there in the closer spot. Alek Manoah here at the top for the Cardinals, and not a great pitching staff. Justin Verlander, 58 innings, so he got hurt at some point this season, but he's not really pitching that great. Alek Manoah has definitely been the best pitcher on this staff. Yasmel Petit, sub-2 ERA, or sub-3 ERA, sub-1 whip. Eric Yardley, 39 innings pitched. Tony Watson, wow. He has been unreal. Okay, 45 innings and 5 runs allowed right now with a 1 ERA and a .91 whip. So, really good numbers by him. Luke, I don't know how to pronounce the last name for this player, but he's been pretty bad, actually, as his team's closer. So, we are going to do a little bit of an interesting thing. We're going to move Tony Watson to that closer role because he has been unreal there in this bullpen. So, move over to the Rhinos, and this is the worst team in the league, but Walker Buehler is doing well. So is Lucas Giolito, and so is Jose Urquidy. Wow, okay. So, honestly, the pitching, not awful. It's not, amazing, but it's not awful. It's a pretty good pitching staff. Hector Santiago has been good. Clay Holmes has been good. Pedro Strop has been pretty bad. Jordan Hicks, yikes. Craig Kimbrell has actually struggled as well. 18 saves, 4 blown, 4.78 ERA, and 1.37 whip. So, overall, not a great bullpen there in Richmond. Garrett Cole, 2.39 ERA and a 1.10 whip. That's ridiculous. He'll probably be an all-star. And, I mean, the rest of the pitching staff, though, not great. So, not a deep pitching staff here in Chicago, besides Garrett Cole. Jake Faria out of the bullpen, 104 innings. Really good numbers by him. John Brevia in the setup role, 2.33 ERA. And then Devin Williams, 20.1 innings pitched, so little bit of a swell. I mean, he's got 23 saves, but definitely good numbers by him. A 2.66 ERA. The 1.43 WHIP though was a little bit high, but yeah. Besides Garrett Cole, not much on the starting pitching staff. So that is the pitchers in this league in the first half. Now we're going to take a look at some of these lineups here. Okay, so now we go into the lineup here, and we have Chris Taylor leading things off for the Monarchs. Pretty good for him. Brandon Nimmo's batting .288 with 12 home runs and 38 RBIs, a .380 on base. One of the best on base machines in this game. He's such a glitch in this game, so really, really good numbers. Yordan Alvarez, 21 homers, 17 doubles, 55 ribbies so far. Jose Abreu, the average in the on-base kind of sucked, but 22 homers, 53 ribbies. I mean, it's an okay season by him. Evan Longoria, 12 home runs, 31 RBIs, okay. Riley Green, batting .247, 322 on base, 10 homers, 34 ribbies, so not an amazing, not an awful season by him so far. And then Austin Nola, .246 average, 305 on base. I think overall this is a lineup that could be improved upon and could be playing a little bit better. But overall, not a terrible team. Although Bobby Witt Jr. is on the bench for some stupid reason here. He's been really good in 163 at-bats this season for sure. Definitely put him over Mike Freeman. We don't need Mike Freeman in this lineup. I don't know why they changed it. 2 home runs, 12 RBIs for Bobby Witt Jr. and a .282 average for him. He's been very good, and albeit much smaller of a sample size than I wanted him to be. Now we go to the sluggers, and there's Harrison Bader there at the top of the order. Mitch Garver batting .283 with 55 ribbies, and Giancarlo Stanton is having one of his best years of his career right here. .311 average, .390 on base percentage, 19 homers and 44 RBIs, over 100 hits for Stan already. Not really known as an average guy. Much more known for his power, and the power has been there for sure, but so was the average. .265 average for Matt Olson. Adam Duvall really struggling with the average there. Julio Rodriguez, though, .260, 11 home runs, 38 RBIs. That's pretty good. Brian Anderson batting .254, 6 homers, 20 RBIs. So, again, I mean, there's some holes in that lineup. It's not amazing, not really that bad either, but this is a good lineup here in the Arrows. Dominic Fletcher not doing well, though, batting .209. Zach Veen batting .258, 5 homers, 26 ribbies, so I'll take that. I mean, he's only a 67 overall, so not expecting a whole lot from him. And then Vladimir Guerrero Jr., one of the better hitters in baseball right now, .292 average, 29 home runs and 69 RBIs. Definitely going to be an all-star starter. And, I mean, this is what he does. This is the type of player he is. 51 walks to 57 strikeouts, a .374 on-base percentage, and a .945 OPS. What a year right now by Vladdy. He is putting up some crazy numbers. And then Cedric Mullins, I mean, right along there with Vladdy, batting nearly .300. 16 homers and 55 RBIs for Mullins, so he's been excellent. Austin Hayes only batting .199. Josh Donaldson, .269 average, 16 homers and 40 ribbies. And Danny Jansen, .240 on the average. He's in a hot streak right now, but he's been okay. Mark Hanna has been pretty good, though, 18 homers and 53 RBIs for him. And then Yobi Vivas, 21 years old, and only batting .240, so not awful, but not necessarily great either. But overall, it's a pretty good lineup, and especially with Vladdy and Mullins doing as well as they are. This is a well-rounded team, and, I mean, it's really Vladdy, Mullins, and Danny and Mark Hanna who have been really pulling a lot of the weight in that lineup. Now we go to the Millers, and Michael A. Taylor leading things off here on this team, and he's not been very good. Jonathan India, though, 10 home runs, 30 RBIs, .266 average, okay. Fernando, 19 homers, 54 ribbies, .283 average, so yeah, he's having a good year. A.J. Pollock has nearly 50 RBIs. Chris Bryant's kind of struggling, though, so is Tom Murphy. Suarez, 19 homers and 46 ribbies, but a .208 average. Kevin Sheets, though, .255 average, and, I mean, he's been pretty good. Cole Calhoun has not. But, yeah, there's a look at Tatis. 926 OPS for him and a 366 on base. So he is definitely having a good season there. Now, Luis Arias is for some reason on the bench. And actually, I don't know if I did it in this episode here, but I know I increased his contact versus lefties soon after this video goes up. Because in real life, he's batting like in real life, he's batting like 350 at the moment, and he's one of the best contact hitters in baseball. So definitely want that to be a little bit more reflected in this game. But Luis Arias is going to go in the lineup because I don't know why he wasn't there in the first place. But yeah, I do go in here and I changed his rating. So, we're going to have a much better Luis Arias going forward in this league for sure. And then we go over to Las Vegas, and they've been all right. And Brian Hayes has been pretty good there at the top of the order. Starling Marte batting 286 with 6 homers and 31 ribbies. He's been good. From Arias has been okay. Yan Gomes has been all right. Yohari Soler though 253 average, 25 home runs and 54 RBIs. So he is having quite the year right now. He's having quite the year in real life as well. But yeah, definitely a good season being put together right now by Jorge Soler, and he's definitely the best hitter right now in this Vandals lineup, or this Gamblers lineup. Excuse me, man, I cannot speak sometimes. As there's Rhys Hoskins at first base, really good numbers by him, and then Michael Massey. Okay, I don't know why either one of those guys are really starting on this team. I'm not sure if I really want them to be starting. Needed Stewart here on the bench. 239 average on homers, 22 RBIs for him. But they do have a couple of injuries. Tommy Edman is hurt for 1 to 2 more months still. So that's probably, Tommy Edman was a starter on this team. So that's one of the main reasons that they have some guys starting there that they maybe shouldn't. But either way, that's their lineup. And then we go over to the Rattlers here. And the Rattlers lineup is all right. Brian Rocchio batting 320 right now with 14 homers and 42 ribbies, but a 412 on-base percentage. I believe he's leading the league in that category on base, so at least he's up there near the top. But a 952 OPS as well. So, man, Brian Reynolds is popping off right now. He is having an incredible season for the Rattlers. Rookie Betts through 252 average for him. He's been all right. Bobby Dolbeck has been okay. Seth Brown only winning 199 right now. Wilson Contreras 281 average, 10 homers and 44 ribbies, so that's a good year for him. Adam Engel has been pretty good actually. And then Carlos Correa to 301 average, 6 homers, 23 RBIs. He did get hurt earlier in the season, so that's why he has a very a much smaller sample size than some of these other players here in this lineup. But I mean, overall, the 2 through 5 combo of Reynolds, Betts, Dolbeck, and Contreras really actually pretty good there for both of those for this team here. Those are some good players there. But Hauser Alberto is going to go in there against lefties because he's got 82 contact against lefties. But yeah, pretty decent lineup there in Colorado. And then the B is here. Nick Madrigal, 2 home runs, 24 ribbies, but a 291 average for him. Odubel Herrera, not great. Martin Acuna Jr., only batting 237. He's got 22 homers and 59 RBIs, but he's actually decreasing. 23 doubles, only 77 hits, though. And, the average and the on-base a lot lower than you would expect from Arnold Acuna Jr. this year. Only has about a 3. I'm not sure what that on-base was. I just saw it. But yeah, the average in the on-base for Acuna is low for sure this season, which is very interesting. I don't even know if he is going to make it to the All-Star game. I think he will, but he might not. Miguel Pazzo, okay, batting 291 and 179 at bats, so that's pretty good. Joey Wendell should definitely be in this lineup somewhere, though, against lefties, so I don't know why he's not. He's batting 290 right now. So we're going to add him in, and we're going to put him into this lineup somewhere. Probably, third base. Michael Stefanik has deep potential, so don't need him in this batting order. And then we go to the Sharks, and Jonathan Daza there leading off. Not great. Dylan Collison batting 284, and 9 homers, 34 ribbies. Max Muncy, 257 average, 15 homers and 47 RBIs. Mix Zunino is struggling a little bit, though. Eduardo Escobar does have 47 or RBIs, but has been decent. 264 average for Dansby Swanson, who's been pretty good. So is Ian Happ, 246 average, 16 homers and 40 RBIs for him. Yeah, we're going to move Mike Zunino a lot further down in the batting order. Jorge Polanco batting 243. And Alek Tomas, yikes, only batting 195 with 10 homers and 32 ribbies. So he is definitely struggling right now in his rookie year. But yeah, that is the lineup here for San Diego. And then the Spiders here, you got Cisneros leading things off. Wilson Ramos is probably not. Yeah, we're going to have Kirk Casale. Kirk Casale should be the starting catcher in this league, and then in this team, and then Adley Rutschman should be the DH. So overall, a pretty decent. I think a lot of guys that are on the bench should be starting on this team. But either way, Ozzie Albies, really good numbers for him. 312 average, 18 homers, 50 RBIs, 378 on base. He's definitely this team's offensive MVP this season so far. A 927 OPS for him. Tyler O'Neill, 14 homers and 43 ribbies, but the average is pretty low. Trey Mancini, 15 homers, 47 RBIs. Man, he's having a good year right now. And then Jeremy Pena, 94 bats at this point. You would expect to see something a bit more from him. Adley Rutschman has been kind of struggling this year. Amato Sosa has been okay. And Patrick Wisdom, batting 219, 13 home runs and 30 ribbies. That is not very good. So I am going to make some adjustments to this batting order, though, because Adley Rutschman, again, should be the DH. Kirk Casale should be the starting catcher, but I will make those changes later. We go to the Expos. Nicky Lopez only batting 246. Bryson Scott batting 257. I mean, the strength of this team is the pitching. The offense is kind of not great. I mean, you got Lourdes Gurriel Jr., 12 home runs, 49 RBIs. Pretty good for him. And Will Smith, super low average right now. He's decreasing right now. 213 average and a 293 on base percentage. 676 OPS. So, man, Will Smith really struggling at the plate this year. Joey Votto, yeah, I don't expect him to be a big force offensively. 245 average for Kirilloff, who's not been awful. George Springer has been kind of awful, though. So, the guys that you would think would be doing really well in this batting order, like George Springer and Will Smith, have been really struggling, and that has definitely negatively impacted this team and their offense here this year. Their offense is just not very effective. So when we go now to the Wizards, and this team has been struggling through some injuries, and they don't have Nicholas Castellanos in this batting order anymore. Bryce Harper has been ridiculous, though. 24 homers, 58 RBIs, a 289 average for him, 375 on base. He's going to be an all-star for sure. He has been ridiculous. Justin Upton, yikes. Kiva Ruiz, 246 average, 8 homers. I mean, that's not awful. Only Adames, smaller sample, but would expect a little bit more from him. And then the bottom of the order, just not much at all to speak of. Not a whole lot on the bench on this team either. So, man, that Nicholas Castellanos injury definitely hurts them. But now you go to the now you go to New York here, the Honey Badgers, and man, Christian Yelich batting 300 with a 388 on base and a 921 OPS. How about this season right now from Christian Yelich? That is impressive for sure. Jeff McNeil, all right. Aaron Judge batting 281, 25 homers, 66 ribbies. He is going to be in the All-Star game with a 928 OPS, so that is really awesome. Not quite the 63 home run season he had in real life in this season, but definitely a good year. And then Austin Riley, 245 average, 22 home runs and 67 RBIs. I mean, that top 4 batting order right there is really, really good. But besides that, not great. Ramon Laureano batting 218. Miguel Cabrera, 253 average, 15 home runs and 48 RBIs. That's not bad. That's not bad at all for, a guy that's 39 years old in this league, I think. But Eric Haas, 100 at bats, 260 average. I don't know if he's a star. Oh, is he the catcher? Okay. But anyway, Jorge Alfaro is the DH for some reason. Ha-Seong Kim, those two guys are not doing very well. Jalen Miller is also not doing that great either. But Either way, that is that lineup here. I'm not sure what I did going into this team's roster. Oh, I had to call up somebody. But either way, that is that team's starting lineup. So, and then we go to Boston, and this is the reason that this team is doing well. You got Ahmed Rosario hitting really good. Kevin Kiermaier is batting .278. Kyle Tucker, 20 home runs, 56 RBIs, and a .255 average right now. He is kind of popping off. He's doing really well. Kevin Biggio is batting .273 with 15 home runs and 39 RBIs. Darren Ralph is batting .284, 13 homers, 40 RBIs. Luis Arias, smaller sample because of the injury that he had. He's doing all right. Andrew McCutchen is doing okay. But Alejandro Kirk, a potential increase, baby. Let's go. 76 overall for him. And 7 home runs, 43 RBIs, 324 average, and a 406 on-base percentage. That is ridiculous numbers for a catcher. So, really good season by him. Nico Goodrum, okay, batting .275. So, really good numbers for this lineup. Now, keep in mind that Trevor Story is injured on this team, and he is going to be injured for the rest of the season. So, that's definitely something that is going to harm this lineup going forward the rest of the year. But it's a really good lineup here in Boston, and I think that this is going to be a playoff team right here. So, good stuff there. That's what their lineup looks like. Now we go to the Firebirds. Miles Straw batting .288, 5 homers and 30 RBIs. He might get an All-Star bid. Nico Horner, really good. Jesse Winker will get an All-Star bid for sure, I would think. 17 home runs, 44 ribbies, 96 hits for him. Man, look at those numbers. 950 OPS, 315 average, and a 392 on base. That is incredible. And now, here's Shohei Ohtani. Let's see what he's doing offensively right here. And, in 233 at-bats, a 275 average, 373 on base, an 871 OPS, 13 home runs, 39 RBIs, and 64 hits, 13 doubles. So, really good numbers right there by Shohei Ohtani. Now, a little bit less at-bats than I would like him to have. He's got like 100 less at-bats almost than Pete Alonso does. So, that's kind of holding him back from having some, really crazy offensive numbers. But either way, he's doing really well this season. Jaime Candelario batting .287, 10 home runs and 50 RBIs. Okay. 88 hits. He is popping off. What a season by him. 830 OPS. That is a surprise. One of the most surprising players that we're going to show you in this episode right here. That is really good season by Jaime Candelario there. And then Vasquez and Larry Garcia, both of those guys really struggling. But either way, it's not a bad batting order here in Phoenix, and I can see them making a run towards a playoff spot later on in the year for sure. Now we go to the Vandals. Charlie Blackmon batting .271. So is J.P. Crawford, 9 home runs, 50 RBIs for him. Ketel Marte, 9 home runs and 60 RBIs. Nolan Arenado batting .275, 22 homers, 58 ribbies. A 348 on base percentage. He is definitely having a great year. 835 OPS. Anthony Rizzo batting .271. And so is Austin Meadows. So, man, Gabriel Moreno, .278 average. 7 homers, 37 RBIs. That's a very good numbers by him. And then David Peralta and Dylan Moore not hitting very well. But, man, I like this lineup here. This is a really good lineup. You got Blackmon, Crawford, Marte, Arenado, Rizzo. Those are some good players right there, and Austin Meadows as well. Now, Andrew Benintendi, 305 average, 11 home runs, 39 RBIs. Great numbers by him. Nick Solak has been very good since we put him in that batting order. Juan Soto, though, what more to say here in this guy? He's going to be participating in, the All-Star Game festivities and the Home Run Derby for sure. 28 home runs, 68 RBIs. And a 5.1 WAR already this year. That is insane. 329 average, 408 on base, and over 1 OPS. He is just currently the best hitter in all of baseball right now. And this season is proving it. He is having a ridiculous campaign in 2023 right now. And this is crazy. And he is definitely one of those front runners for MVP this season right now. Xander Bogaerts batting, 260 or so. Really good numbers for him as well. Brian De La Cruz, very good. Travis d'Arnaud is batting .313 with a 397 on base percentage, 41 ribbies. That's incredible. Jared Walsh has 50 RBIs and 17 homers. So, I mean, man, what more can I say about this batting order? It is just simply one of the best in the league. And, I mean, that is proof of it right there. That is incredible. They will send more than just one guy to the All-Star game. Bo Bichette, 251 average for him. Kyle Lewis batting 263, 17 homers and 47 ribbies. Okay. Ty France, 10 home runs, 46 RBIs. That's pretty decent. Aquino, not great. Carson Kelly, I mean, smaller sample size, but a decent season by him. But, yeah, definitely not an amazing lineup there. And then Corey Seager, 19 home runs, 50 RBIs. 50 RBIs as well for Jose Altuve, batting 292 with a 346 on base and an 883 OPS. Garrett Cooper batting 280, 11 home runs, 31 RBIs. And Anthony Santander, 248 average, 18 home runs, and 60 RBIs. That is a very good season right there by Anthony Santander. 786 OPS, so, yeah, I mean, the home run and the RBI numbers are really good for him. Corey Lee, 286 average, 8 home runs, 42 RBIs. This is exactly what we were looking for. Man, what a rookie year that he is having right now. This is definitely a really awesome thing to see, and he is increasing by quite a bit this season. So that's the lineup there for the Dragons. Now we go to the Scorpions and Wander Franco. Okay, those are good numbers for him in his rookie year. Roman Orias batting 280. Marcus Semien batting 242 with 15 homers and 62 RBIs. Definitely the offensive star of this team. Hunter Renfroe with 43 RBIs, 18 home runs. You know, only batting 207, so the average on base really low. Tyrone Taylor has been okay. Yanni has been pretty bad. Nathaniel Lowe has been all right. And Enrique Hernandez, 16 home runs, 44 RBIs, a 245 average. Actually, some very surprisingly good numbers right there from the number 9 hitter, Enrique Hernandez. And then we go to the Reapers here. Alberto Mondesi struggling at the top of the batting order. Jake Myers, okay, I'm not sure if he was really supposed to be a starter because, yeah, Jesus Sanchez is on the bench. So, but Freddie Freeman, 20 home runs, 58 RBIs for him, 314 average. That's ridiculous. Rafael Devers batting 260 with 27 home runs and 60 RBIs. Those are some crazy numbers. 333 on base, 19 home runs and 50 RBIs for JD Martinez. Jonathan Scope there. I'm not sure. I don't think he's supposed to be starting on this lineup either. But Mike Drew is having a decent season. And James McCann, Mike Yastrzemski, not doing great. I'm going to have to adjust this lineup because for some reason Jesus Sanchez is on the bench. And so is Matt Duffy. Those are both guys that we don't want to be on the bench. Jesus Sanchez, 15 home runs, 33 RBIs so far for him. But I will make adjustments to this lineup here really quick. But yeah, really good lineup. I mean, the 3, 4, and 5 hitters of Freeman, Devers, and Martinez. That's the best, one of the best combinations 3, 4, 5 in the entire league. So definitely a good lineup here in Houston. And then we go to the Diablos here, and Jake Cronenworth. He's having a great year, batting over 300, I think. And Tim Anderson batting 272, 18 home runs, 47 RBIs. Yeah, it's Monty Grandal going to be in the All-Star game and then in the Home Run Derby. And, man, look at his numbers. 95 hits, 5 doubles, 5 triples, 33 home runs, 74 RBIs, batting 297, 370 on base, and an over 1,000 OPS, a 5.4 WAR. Unbelievable. I mean, he's not doing this stuff in real life. So, in real life, he's definitely a little bit washed in his career at this point. But, man, in this game, he is popping off right now. Probably the front runner for the MVP in the American League. Josh Bell only batting 218. Jake Marisnick, yikes, okay. Oscar Mercado's only batting 214. And then David Boney, 14 home runs, 39 RBIs, a 272 average. Very good numbers for him. And I think you can definitely tell that some of this lineup has definitely dropped off, including, Jake Marisnick and Oscar Mercado. But, man, I cannot get over those numbers by Yasmani Grandal. He is definitely the first half MVP this season and is going to be up there in that front running for the MVP race this year for sure. Those are some incredible numbers. And then we go to the Vipers here, nearly done with this recap. O'Neal Cruz, 11 home runs, 40 RBIs for him. LeMahieu's been okay. Brian Buxton batting .254. Spencer Torkelson, okay, this is his rookie year, and I will take this. .252 to average, 311. There were 331 on base, a near 800 OPS, 17 home runs, and 49 RBIs. JT Realmuto, he is going crazy right now. He's having a great offensive season with 42 RBIs and, you know, a .280 average. Pedro Leon is actually kind of popping off here. 307 average, 215 at bats, and a 838 OPS. So, wow, okay, that's a great season for him right there. You know, a decent lineup. You got Buxton, you got Torkelson, and Realmuto. So, it's an interesting lineup there. Elvis Andrus leading things off here for the Jazz. And Aaron Ciarte batting near .270. Salvador Perez, 21 home runs and 62 RBIs. I mean, the average is only at .216. The on-base is only at .251. So, those numbers are very low. Ryan Mountcastle with 20 home runs and 20 doubles, 50 RBIs. So, the power numbers for him are really good, but everything else is not great. Victor Garcia, 12 home runs and 41 RBIs, .274 average. Maybe one of the better overall hitters on this team. Jared Kelenic has been okay. Jazz Chisholm, .264 average. We'll take that for him. And then Nico Holzer, only batting .218. And at this point, I kind of think I want to take him out of the starting lineup, but I don't really know who to replace him with. So, either way, not an amazing lineup, not an awful one either, though, in New Orleans. And then we go to the Bison. I forgot their name for a minute. Manny Machado batting .298, 24 homers, and 72 RBIs. He'll be in that All-Star game with .947 OPS, and he's been the best hitter on this team by far. 104 hits for him. Wow, he is having a crazy year. He's one of the top 3 guys, I think, in RBIs right now. Andrew Vaughn really struggling. Lorenzo Cain batting, .250. Hernan Perez, actually, though, batting .294. And Sean Murphy batting .285 or .286 with 19 home runs and 80 or 45 RBIs. So, you got some good hitters in this lineup. You got Murphy and Perez and Machado that are pulling their weight. But, it'll be interesting to see what they do in the second half of the season. Now we go to the Crusaders. Byers is doing all right this year. Anthony Rendon batting, .288. Luke Voigt is doing pretty well. Adolis Garcia really low. I mean, a 191 average and a 232 on base. Yikes. Only 17 walks. So, a struggling season for him. Michael Brasso and Eloy Jimenez near a 252 average, it seems. But, I mean, I don't know. I kind of think that this offense needs another punch in it to really make it a lot better. I think that offense could be certainly improved. Santiago Espinal batting really well. J.D. Davis, 267 average, 17 home runs, 53 RBIs. And then Mike Trout, doing Mike Trout things. 28 doubles already, 1 triple, 25 home runs, 64 ribbies, and a 419 on base, a 6.2 WAR. Wow, that is leading the league. Overall, 419 on base, a 1.088 OPS, and a 649 slugging. So, I mean, he's just doing what Mike Trout does. That is unreal numbers right there from Mr. Mike Trout. So, he's being one of the best hitters in the entire league. I mean, just like he usually does. And then Kyle Schwarber, 240 average, 21 home runs, and 41 RBIs. So, those are some good numbers for him, for sure. Take that any day of the week. And then Paul Goldschmidt, though, man, 25 home runs, 67 RBIs, a 293 average, 360 on base, and a 903 OPS. Goldschmidt is popping off. He's having a great year. He'll be in the All-Star game, I would assume, for sure. Francisco Lindor, 13 home runs and 44 ribbies for him. Manny Pena's kind of struggling. So is Victor Robles. And Gavin Lux, 269 average, 8 homers, and 35 RBIs. So I'll take that from him. Not too bad. And then you see the bench there, but really good lineup there in Nashville. Luis Robert, batting .269. He's been one of the better hitters in this team. 18 home runs and 50 RBIs for Justin Turner. Nelson Cruz, struggling. Albert Pujols, really struggling. He is at 690 career home runs. So, you got 11 in the first half. He only needs 10 more to reach 700. We'll make sure that happens this year for sure. And then Josh Harrison is batting .292 actually this year. That's some impressive numbers. Jordan Lawler only batting .264. The on base is only at .264, so he's kind of struggling at the plate, and just overall not a great lineup there. 304 average for Jonathan Davis, 1 home run and 16 RBIs, so okay, get numbers for him. Trey Turner batting .301, 347 on base. I mean, he's this team's best hitter. 105 hits for him and 27 doubles, so really good numbers. 878 OPS and a 4.7 WAR. You're gonna have to kind of think about what this team does at the trade deadline. 255 average, 24 homers and 64 RBIs. Mitch Haniger popping off. Jesus Aguilar also popping off, 15 home runs and 55 RBIs, a 262 average. So those are a couple of guys right there in Aguilar and Haniger that this team can definitely trade if they are feeling like it and if they're just kind of out of the playoff contention and playoff picture by the time the deadline rolls around. So we'll kind of look at some of those guys to trade. Now we go to the worst team in baseball here. And Alex Bregman, 271 average, 14 home runs, 39 RBIs. Frank Sanjala is batting .268. Rosario with 46 RBIs. Bellinger's batting all right, .264 for him. Josh Naylor, a decrease in his overall. This is another team that I think we'll see make some moves maybe at the trade deadline. And, I mean, the one guy that, you definitely look at as a trade candidate for this team is Alex Bregman. He is their best hitter on the team. And for some reason, this team has 4 catchers right now up in the Major League level. That is way too many. So we're going to call a couple of these guys down here. But, yeah, definitely a trade candidate there in Alex Bregman. So we'll see if they do indeed do that at some point this year. And then we go to the Blue Sox, 288 average for Alex Verdugo. Adam Frazier is doing well. Jose Ramirez, good numbers, 45 RBIs for Brandon Belt. And, I mean, overall, not an amazing lineup here, but not awful either. 282 average for Omar Narvaez, though, actually, in the catcher spot is pretty good. But, yeah, so, okay. I mean, you got Ramirez and Verdugo playing really well. So is Sean Hillard, actually. Maybe consider putting him in the batting order here over one of these other guys like Nelson Vasquez, who is really struggling. But either way, that is actually going to be the last team that we look at here. So that's going to close off this video and close off this stat recap here for you. So I know it was a bit of a longer one probably, and, a little bit of I know these videos don't do as well. And so I don't really mind if you don't watch these all the way through, to be honest. But I think it's important to just recap you guys what the stats look like and everything. So next time we will have All-Star Game festivities, the All-Star Game in the Major League level and the minor leagues. I did not record the Home Run Derby. I accidentally deleted the clip from that recording, so we won't have the Home Run Derby, unfortunately, for you, which is my bad for sure. That's on me. But either way, hopefully everybody's having a great day. And you've been listening to Lucas from Mars. See you in the next video, guys, and God bless.